drugs of abuse, in particular, drugs that tap into the dopamine system, namely cocaine and amphetamine. And just because there's no way to avoid this if we're being true to the biology, the energy, the dopamine system was designed for foraging for all sorts of things. Food, so people that overindulge food or seek out food. Sex, people that overindulge in these things. Those things, and again, this sort of leans to Eastern philosophy a bit, but there's Western neuroscience, or neuroscience, we should just say, to support it. You start to deplete these dopamine systems. The baseline starts to drop. And so I'm imagining that the leader, you in this case, is saying like, listen, let's tone it down, use the energy that we've gained and put it to good use rather than just burn it up, enjoying it. And then of course, after a loss, when I sort of think of the candles going dimmer but the oil reserve is still there. And it's like, how do you start to tap back into the oil reserve? Well, you have to actually ramp the candle up again. You can't just sit there waiting for the intensity of the flame to come back. You actually have to do something in order for that to happen. So maybe this isn't the best analogy because it lacks sort of like exactly what is the person turning the intensity up and down on these candles, but that's what comes to mind. And in Eastern traditions, there's this idea of chi, of energy to fight, energy to seek mates, energy to seek food, energy for sex, for all of it is the same energy. And I actually believe that the energy that they're referring to are these catecholamines. I really do. Now, there are other energy systems too relating to child rearing, pair bonding, oxytocin, all the kind of like fuzzy, warm stuff that's super important. I mean, we wouldn't exist as a species the way we do if we didn't honor that energy system also. And that energy system that we normally think of as love, as opposed to forward center of mass, synergizes with this system, right? Like when you're working with and training with and people that you love, this could be your brothers, your sisters, whatever, your family, I think there's an amplifying effect on this whole thing, right? If it's just for more dopamine, just for more money, just for more wins, just for more trophies. I'll never forget this. As an aside, when I was a kid, I had this weird experience where Tony Hawk's dad rescued me from a skateboard contest in Linda Vista, the Linda Vista Boys Club. Everyone else left. I was left there alone. I was 14 because of my home life at that time, et cetera. And he was like, where are you going? And I'm like, I'm going to take the bus to Lancaster. I know this guy. And he was like, no, you're coming to our house. I was like, okay. So he took me to Tony's house. And I went into Tony's room that he had grown up in. Tony lived in Fallbrook at that time. And the room wasn't filled with trophies. The room was trophies. And I remember just thinking like, holy cow. And when I think about that, and I think about what a healthy person Tony turned out to be, because I happened to be blessed to know him a little bit, it's amazing because a lot of people that had those trophies, whatever domain of life, they converted all that into ways to just burn the oil down in their candle. He's a guy who's still going in his 50s, right? So, hey man, that's a little aside story, but I think this notion of energy to me is so important because, as you said, when we move toward action and we complete something, the oil in that candle starts to get replenished and the flame burns hotter.